Hi friends, it's Elizabeth Stone. Welcome to an invitation. Today I am inviting you to make some bread puddings with me. We're going to make 3 different bread puddings. They're all very easy. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so here we go. Again, bread pudding is super easy. Today I'm going to use this aluminum pan. You can use a Pyrex pan, you can use a round Pyrex pan, you can use a baking dish. You just want something that has at least a couple of inches on the side. So I am going to start with some butter. This is just melted butter that I'm going to brush in here. I'm going to just pour a little in. Bread pudding is always going to stick a little bit, and that's okay, but this just helps keep it from sticking quite so much. I'm going to make 3 different bread puddings today. However, you will see the base to all 3 of the bread puddings is identical, and it's all about what you're going to put in it. So I'm going to show you how to make the first one. This is a traditional, what I call a New Orleans style bread pudding, and I'm going to give you the recipe and then you can see how it goes. So we're going to start with 8 eggs, and I'm going to go ahead and just crack those in here. And then we're going to end up putting 2 cups of sugar and 4 cups of milk and 1 loaf of baguette. We're going to mash that up, and then it gets a tablespoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, so that's a pretty easy recipe. Sometimes if you're using bread that soaks up all the liquid, you might have to add a little more milk, but I think that we're going to be good today. Now let's talk about the bread you use for bread pudding. While I'm beating this up, I'm going to talk about that. So today I'm going to use the traditional New Orleans style. I bet you can't hear me while I'm beating this. I'm just going to beat this a little bit and get the eggs nice and mixed in. Once they're completely incorporated into each other, the whites and the yolks, then you're ready to go. Okay, so when the breads you want to use, we're going to use a baguette today, and a lot of people say you need to use a stale baguette, and that is true. It makes a great bread pudding, but I will tell you that we have used everything from white bread to one time we kind of had an emergency and we used hot dog buns, and I was very worried about it, but it actually came out really great. It made great bread pudding. So there's a lot of different things you can make with it. I think the origin of bread pudding was that you just took things were left in your refrigerator and made an awesome dessert out of it. So that's basically what the origins are, and it's developed into this wonderful recipe that people love. So now I've added the sugar, and I'm going to go ahead and beat that in a little bit to make sure. I want to make sure all that sugar starts to dissolve. I don't want it to be very granulated in there, and if you just stir it until you can see it started to change the consistency now. It almost looks like honey or a syrup, and that's what you're looking for, and then all that sugar is now starting to dissolve. And then I'm going to add 4 cups of milk. So this is 2 cups, and then I have another 2 cups here that I'm going to add in. So we have our 4 cups of milk that we've added in. Okay, that looks great. Then we've got about a teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm sorry, a tablespoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of vanilla is what I'm going to put in. All right, now you can see this is your base recipe for bread pudding. So I'm just going to review that with you one more time. We have 8 eggs, 2 cups of sugar, 4 cups of milk, a tablespoon of cinnamon, and a teaspoon of vanilla. So as I said, we've used a baguette, and you can see we've just cut it up into small pieces. You can tear it if you want to. I just tend to cut it up, and it's this kind of a dried out baguette. We let it sit out overnight. So now I'm going to pour it in here into this mixture, and you can see that it's all in there. And I tell you, you can do this with a spoon, but the best way to do this is with your hands. So I usually just put gloves on. So now we're just going to start to mix this all together. What I want is I want this bread to start to soak up all of this liquid, very much like French toast would be. So we're just going to break this bread up and start to mash it up a little bit. You can see how it's starting to come apart. and all that liquid's getting in there. All right, so now that's about right. And we're just gonna pour that in. Look at that, doesn't that look yummy? And now it's ready to go in the oven. So this is the traditional bread pudding. We'll be back in a minute and we'll show you the other two bread puddings that I'm gonna make. Okay, so I have prepped these just like I did the other one. This pan is identical to the first one, but this one, we're going to do a pear pecan cranberry bread pudding. Doesn't that sound fabulous? So I've diced up one pear here, and I'm gonna sprinkle it on the top. I'm gonna press this into the liquid in just a minute. I'm gonna show you, so I'm just gonna sprinkle it on the top. I've got about a cup of toasted pecans here that I'm putting in. Well, it's about a cup and a half. Let's just put it all in. I don't think it's gonna matter that much. And then I have about a cup of dried cranberries. So, doesn't that look yummy? All right, and then I'm just going to take this spatula and mix it up a little bit. You can pour this into the egg mixture if you want to. I just tend to pour the egg mixture and the bread in first to make sure it all fits in the pan before I add these other things and waste them. The more expensive ingredients are the cranberries and the pecans, and I don't like to waste them. So now we've got all that in there. This is ready to go. And then I'm gonna do the last one. So this last one, I am using croissants instead of the baguette bread. So you can see I've torn the croissants up. Very easy. I'm just gonna tear these up. These are about a day old. And you know, I was thinking about this and about the history of bread pudding. And you know, most of this I think originated from the French, where they had day-old French bread and they needed a way to use it. So they found a way to use it with a dessert. And you know, as we all know, the French were part of the development of Louisiana, so that's why it became a Southern dish in Louisiana. So this one, I'm going to do a chocolate cherry bread pudding. So I've got my mixture that I made before, the same mixture, the same eggs, milk, and everything. But now I'm gonna add about a cup of just a chocolate sauce. You can use, this is a chocolate sauce that we make specifically from semi-sweet chocolate chips and heavy cream. But if you've got Hershey's and you wanna use that, you can do that too. So it's about a cup that we're gonna put in there. And you can see now it looks almost like chocolate milk. Okay? And then the dried cherries. So I'm gonna go ahead and just sprinkle the cherries right on top of these croissants so they'll already be in there. These are beautiful dried cherries. I love dried cherries. They've got such a great flavor. And then we're gonna just pour this nice chocolate mixture right in. And look at it, it's gonna just be so pretty when we get done. Look at that. Yummy. Oh, it's making me hungry. All right, and then again, I'm gonna take my spatula, just sort of press the bread down. The croissant bread absorbs the liquid much faster than the French bread, but that is okay. But nonetheless, all of these are gonna be baked at 350. I always check it after 30 minutes. It sometimes takes 45 minutes. Depends on your oven and how hot it really gets, if it's really at 30 degrees or if it's at if it's at 350 degrees or not. Some ovens aren't as hot. So, but we're gonna start. So I'm gonna put these in. I'm gonna put all three of them in at the same time, 350 degrees, and we'll check them. We'll be back in just a few minutes and we'll get a taste. Okay, friends, look, these have come out of the oven. Just to remind you what we have the chocolate cherry bread pudding made with croissants. We have the pear cranberry pecan bread pudding, and we have the classic bread pudding. I'm gonna put a little scoop of each one on my plate here so you can see them come out. Look how nice and puffy they are and gooey. I love it when they're not overcooked. You don't wanna get them dried out. You can let them sit a little bit once they come out just to make sure that they settle in. Look how beautiful that is. Now, and here's the cranberry chocolate. Look at that, yummy. Oh my goodness, doesn't that look good? Look how beautiful that is. All right, let's take a quick bite. I'm gonna try the chocolate because that's one of my favorites. Take a big bite here. That is perfect. The chocolate's perfect. The cherries are perfect. And I love the croissant bread. It's nice and flaky. You can still see that it's nice and flaky. So easy. I hope that you found this easy today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, we are here to make your life easier through entertaining and cooking. Always make it easy, always make it fun, but most importantly, enjoy the experience. Cheers.